This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com and Trailer to Reaction. And I have to admit, I find the concept behind the upcoming Brightburn fascinating. Not because I think it's particularly brilliant, it's not. What I find interesting is that it's actually truer to Superman than Superman, at least depicted by Zach Snyder. And this is just the weirdest thing for me. I've heard Brightburn, at least from the trailers, described as a parody of Superman, and I don't think it is. I think it's actually truer to what Superman is than Zack Snyder's movies. Keep in mind, Superman's an alien from another world who comes to our planet, and his value system is created there. Brightburn posits that Superman comes to our planet, but he has certain traits already. At least that's what I think from the trailers. He's already, from the egg, not too great. And these qualities only grow in him as the movie progresses. Now the thing is, with Brightburn, the character as depicted, if the trailer is in any way accurate, he's pretty evil. But that's the thing though. Evil is an emotion. And keep in mind, hate is not the opposite of love. Apathy is. Zack Snyder's Superman, sure, there are instances he saved people, but that was not his driving factor. He was, for the most part, apathetic about humanity. He didn't seem to care, and saving people seemed to be a burden for him. He seemed very put upon. It seemed like the last thing he wanted to do, which, if you've read anything about Zack Snyder, and I haven't read a lot, but what I have read seems to indicate that he is a follower, a believer in the teachings of Ayn Rand, the lady who wrote The Fountainhead, Atlas Shrugged, things of that nature. And a tenet of her line of thought, as I understand it, is that it's the individual that matters most, and that the collective, everyone else, they're a drain on what the individual can do, and the individual is paramount, and everything else is secondary. Everything that the individual values is important. The group, not so much. The group don't matter as much, if at all, than the individual. That's what I get from the cursory reading I have read of her work. And his Superman exemplified that. He was apathetic. He just didn't seem to care for the most part, except for Lois Lane, because he's boinking her. He cared about that. He cared about essentially nothing else. That's why I think a lot of people who see Man of Steel and see his treatment of Metropolis are shocked. Not because of destruction. Destruction's not unusual in these type of movies. What I think they're trying to express is that Zack Snyder's Superman, at least as depicted, does not care. Except for those instances I already mentioned. And this is troubling. But, ironically enough, that's what makes the character from Brightburn even more interesting. He does care. Just not in a good way. He's murderous, and his intent is as such. And he sees himself eventually as superior to people. I get that. There's a logic to that. So, without further ado, let's take a look at the final trailer for Brightburn. Shit, did I get the name of that movie wrong? I think I did. And by Brightburn, I meant Brightburn. In any case, let's take a look at that trailer.
Whatever you've done, I know there is good in you.
Request for backup! Immediate help!
Is this Prometheus?
No.
Come to the sound of my voice. You're safe now.
Brightburn.
I want to do good, Mom. I do.
You're not trying that hard. You're not trying hard at all. Well, that was the trailer for Brightburn, and as I said, it looks interesting. Nothing terribly innovative. Frankly, anyone who's read a comic book at all has probably thought about an evil Superman, and there have been evil Supermans depicted. Though I do want to see it, if only because I'm curious of the contrast between what we see here, what I'll potentially see watching Brightburn, and what I've seen from Zach Snyder's Superman. This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com and Trailer into Reaction. Peace.